circumnavigating Houston on the Interstate 610 loop. Toups Graphics always believes brings you another Algebra 1 Star Quiz. Problem number 1. Find the volume of the prism in terms of x. Is it A, 9x plus 6, B, 24x cubed plus 68x squared plus 20x, C, 20x cubed plus 40x squared plus 24x, or D, 24x squared plus 68x plus 20? To get this answer, we need to use the formula V equal BH, where B is the area of the base and H is the height. In this problem, the base is formed by the dimensions of 2x plus 5 and 3x plus 1. To get the product of this, we need to use the full system. We'll multiply the first terms, the last terms, the outside terms, and the inside terms, then find the sum of the product of the outside and inside. Let's first multiply the first terms of 3x times 2x. 3x times 2x would be 6x squared. Now we need to multiply the last terms of 5 and 1. The product of 5 and 1 is 5. Now we'll multiply the outside terms of 2x and 1. 2x times 1 would be 2x. And then we'll multiply the inside terms of 5 and 3x. 5 times 3x would be 15x. And lastly, we'll combine the outside and inside terms of 2x and 15x and put it in the middle of our quadratic. 2x plus 15x would be 17x. If you go back to the original formula of D equal BH, we know that the area of the base is 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. We need to multiply the area of the base times the height of 4x. So we need to multiply 6x squared plus 17x plus 5 times 4x. To do this, we need to distribute the 4x to the 6x squared, the 17x, and the 5. We'll first multiply 4x times 6x squared and get 24x to the third power. Now we'll multiply 4x times 17x and get 68x to the second power. And lastly, we'll multiply 4x times 5 and get 20x. If you were to look at the answer choices, the answer would match up to choice B. So the answer choice is B, 24x cubed plus 68x squared plus 20x. Question number 2. Identify the vertex of the parabola and if it is a maximum or minimum point. Is it A, 2, 0 a maximum value, B, 6, 0 a minimum value, C, 4, -4 a maximum value, or D, 4, 4 a maximum value? Let's first try choice A, 2, 0. To graph 2, 0, you start at the origin, go right 2 spots. Notice that the dot is on the parabola, but it's a root of the function, is where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So it's not the vertex. Choice A is eliminated. Now we'll do choice B, 6, 0. To graph that point, start at the origin, go 6 spots to the right. Notice that it is on the vertex, but it's a root or 0 of the function, which is where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So choice B is eliminated. Now we'll graph choice C, 4, -4. We'll go from the origin right 4 and down 4, but notice that the dot is not even on the parabola. So choice C is also eliminated. Now we'll try choice D. We'll start at the origin, go right 4, up 4. Notice we're at the top of the parabola, which is the vertex. It's also at the top, so it's a maximum value. So choice D is the correct answer. This Pentagon T Toups Graphics Always Believe Algebra 1 Star Quiz will return after a word from our sponsors. Today's quiz is sponsored by the parent linear function. The parent linear function, it forms a diagonal line through the origin. And the parent quadratic function. The parent quadratic function is a parabola with a vertex at the origin and opens upward. And the zero of a function. Do you know the x-intercepts of a graph of a function? They're the zeros of the function. And pentagon t. Do you need to believe? You need pentagon t. Are you having trouble with a problem on the STAR test? You need the pentagon t eraser. It works in reverse. The pentagon t eraser. It will give you more power to do your best on the STAR test. Just apply the pentagon t eraser on a griddable answer grid and watch the answer magically appear. The pentagon t eraser. It will help you always believe.
But wait, there's more!
If you order now, you'll get the Pentagon T tote bag. It will help you accessorize any outfit so that you will always believe. The Pentagon T eraser and tote bag can be yours for the low price of 4/5 of $100. Call 1-888-PASS-STAR. That's 1-888-PASS-STAR. As we continue to circumnavigate Houston on Interstate 610, the Toups graphics always believe Algebra 1 STAR Quiz continues. Question number 3. Determine the range of the graphed functions. Is it A, all real numbers, B, -5 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 1, C, 3 less than or equal to y less than or equal to -7, or D, y is less than or equal to 3? To get this answer, you need to remember that the range is equivalent to the y values of a function. If you were to look at the parabola, it maxes out on the y-axis at 3 and continues downward. Since 3 would be the maximum range value of the functions must have values less than or equal to 3, which is choice D. So D, y then less than or equal to 3, would be the range of the graphed function. Question number 4. Solve the equation x squared minus 3x minus 25 equal to 3. Is the answer A, 7 and 4, B, -7 and -4, C, -7 and 4, or D, 7 and -4? Since this is a quadratic equation, we need to find the zeros of the function. So we'll solve the equation for 0 by moving the 3 to the left and combining it with the -25. To move the 3 to the left, you need to subtract -3 from the left and right side of the equations. That would give us an equation of x squared minus 3x minus 28 equals 0. Since this is a quadratic function, we could either A, graph it, B, use a quadratic formula, or C, solve by factoring. Let's see if we can factor the quadratic equation. To factor this, we must first write the factors of 28 down, which are 1 and 28, 2 and 14, and 4 and 7. Now then, we need a set of these factors to subtract and give us 3. If you look at the factors of 28, 4 and 7 do indeed subtract and give us 3. Now we'll draw our two parentheses. The first sign in the quadratic is the -3. The minus will drop into the first parentheses. The last sign in the quadratic is the minus in front of the 28. It means the signs will be different. So our second parentheses will have a plus. Now put the factors of 7 and 4 in the parentheses. Put the largest factor first. Since we set the value of the quadratic equal to 0, we'll set each set of parentheses equal to 0. That gives us x minus 7 equal to 0 and x plus 4 equal to 0. If you were to solve each equation, you would get x equals 7 and x equal negative 4, which would end up matching up to choice D. So D, 7 and negative 4, would be the correct answer. You need to remember that the 7 and negative 4 would also be called the roots of the equation, or it can be called the zeros of the function. Question number 5. How does the graph of f of x equal 2x squared minus 7 differ from the graph of g of x equal 2x squared plus 1? Is it A, f of x is shifted 8 units up, B, f of x is shifted 6 units up, C, f of x is shifted 8 units right, or D, f of x is shifted 6 units to the right? To get this answer, you need to know that the negative 7 and positive 1 are the constant terms of the equations represent the y-intercepts. It is also important to note that each coefficient of x squared is equal to 2. That means each parabola has the same steepness. So the negative 7 and 1 means that the parabola has been shifted up or down on the y-axis. In this case, the parabola goes from negative 7 up the y-axis to a positive 1. That is a quantity of 8 units. So the answer would be A. f of x is shifted 8 units up. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors. Today's lesson is sponsored by the full method. Do you need to multiply two binomials? You can use the full method. And the quadratic formula. Do you need to solve a quadratic equation? You could use the quadratic formula. The discriminant. Do you know the answer in the square root symbol of the quadratic formula? It's called the discriminant. And pentagon T. It's the symbol of excellence. Pentagon T. Aren't you glad Sonic came out with this new quadratic root meal deals?
Yes, sir. Think I'm going to get the x squared minus 7x plus 12 deal. 4 chicken strips for $3.
Well, I think I'm going to get the x squared minus 14x plus 24 deal. It comes with 12 tater tots for just $2.
Oh, that's a steal. You know what? Rain check on mine. I think I'm getting the x squared minus 9x plus 20. 5 mozzarella sticks for $4. And I get that drink.
That's a pretty good deal. It sure is nice. Sonic is offering meal deals to help you with your math.
Oh yeah. Even went back, pulled that stuff on my little car hop person. Got the digits. We got a study date. And we ain't studying school, if you know what I mean.
The quadratic root meal deal. Only at Sonic. As we continue our trip around Interstate 610 in Houston, Texas, the Pentagon T Toups graphics Always Believe Algebra 1 Star Quiz continues. Question number 6. The graph shows the height of a rocket compared to the time. At how many seconds will the rocket reach its maximum height? Would it be A, 0 seconds, B, 6 seconds, C, 7 seconds, or D, 12 seconds? To get this answer, we need to know that the vertex will be the maximum height of the rocket. If you were to locate the vertex and go down, you would find the value of the time. The value of the time would be at 6 seconds. So at 6 seconds, the rocket will reach its maximum height. So B, 6 seconds, is the correct answer. Using the same graph, let's do number 7. How many seconds will the rocket be in the air? Will it be 0 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, or 12 seconds? To get this answer, we need to know that as long as the graph is above the x-axis, it's in the air. It hits the x-axis again at 12 seconds. So the answer would be D, 12 seconds. And using the same graph once again, what would the dependent quantity of the graph be? Would it be time, feet, the vertex, or the root? To get this answer, we need to remember that the x-axis represents the independent quantity, while the y-axis represents the dependent quantity. In this problem, the y-axis is the height, and the x-axis is the number of seconds. So you could say that the height depends on the seconds. So the dependent quantity would be the height in feet, which is represented by B. So B, feet, would be the dependent quantity of the graph. Question number 9. The height of a rocket is given in feet by the polynomial negative 16t squared plus 100t plus 14, where t is the time in seconds. How high will the rocket be after 3 seconds? Would it be A, 170 feet, B, 200 feet, C, 140 feet, or D, 458 feet? To get this answer, we'll need to input 3 or find the function of 3. And remember that our input would be 3 seconds. 3 seconds, the seconds would be the independent quantity. Our answer is going to be how many feet, which would be the output, which would be the dependent quantity. So in this problem, the height of the rocket would depend on the number of seconds it's in the air. If you were to have a calculator, you could just keystroke negative 16 times 3 squared plus 100 times 3 plus 14. It's very wise to use the parentheses when inputting your quantity. If you're doing it by hand, you must first get rid of the exponent. 3 to the second would be 9. Now we can multiply the negative 16 and 9. Now we'll multiply and get negative 144 plus 300 plus 14. Now you can find the sum of these quantities and get 170. So the answer choice would be A, 170 feet. The Pentagon T, Toups Graphics, always believe. Algebra 1 Star Quiz will return after this message from our sponsors. Today's quiz is sponsored by Domain. The domain, it's the input value or the independent quantity of a function. And range. The range is the output quantity or the dependent quantity of a function. And point slope form. Do you know the point and the slope of a line? You need to use point slope form to get the equation. And Pentagon T, it's the symbol of excellence. Pentagon T is proud to introduce the Algebra 1 cell phone app. It will help you know what the parent linear function looks like. It will help you find the slope given the x and y intercept of a line. It will show you what the parent quadratic function looks like. And it will help you find the zero of a function by knowing that it's where the graph crosses the x-axis or where the y value is equal to 0. It will show you how to multiply binomials by using the full method. It will show you how to get the roots of a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. And it will show you that the discriminant is equal to the square root quantity of the quadratic formula. The Pentagon T cell phone app. It will help you always believe. Continuing our journey on Interstate 610 around Houston, Texas. The Pentagon T Toups graphics always believe. Algebra 1 Star Quiz continues. Question number 10. Factor the trinomial x to the fourth plus 28x squared plus 196. Is it A, x squared plus 14 to the second power, x plus 28 to the fourth power, x plus 14 to the fourth power, or 2 parentheses x squared plus 14 close parentheses to the second power? To get this answer, you need to remember that the first and last term, x to the fourth and the 196, are both perfect squares. This could be the sum of two squares. To find out, we need to get the square root of x to the fourth and the square root of 196. The square root of x to the fourth is x to the second, and the square root of 196 is 14. To see if it's a perfect square, we need to find the sum of each of these and write it down twice. Notice we'll have x squared plus 14 times x squared plus 14. Now that if you multiply the outside and inside terms, you'll get 14x squared. The sum of the 14x squares should equal to the middle term of 28x squared. And indeed, 14x squared plus 14x squared is 28x squared. So indeed, x squared plus 14 times x squared plus 14 would give us our original trinomial. Since they're the same quantities, we could write down x squared plus 14 to the second power. If you look at the answer choices, choice A matches up to x squared plus 14 to the second power. So choice A is the correct answer. Problem number 11. Multiply the polynomials 2x minus 5 times x to the third plus 3x minus 2. To get this answer, we'll use the box method to multiply the binomial of 2x minus 5 times x to the third plus 3x minus 2. To do the box method, we'll make an array. We'll put 2x minus 5 down on the left side of the rectangle, and we'll put x to the third plus 3x minus 2 on the top of our rectangle. Now we'll multiply each term. We first need to multiply 2x times x to the third. 2x times x to the third would be 2x to the fourth. So we'll put 2x to the fourth in the top left portion of the box method or rectangle. Now we'll continue multiplying with 2x, and we'll multiply 2x times 3x. 2x times 3x would be 6x to the second power. And lastly, we'll take the 2x and multiply it by the negative 2. 2x times negative 2 would be negative 4x. Now we'll start multiplying with the negative 5. Negative 5 times x to the third would be negative 5x to the third. Now we'll multiply negative 5 times 3x. Negative 5 times 3x would be negative 15x. And lastly, we'll take our negative 5 and multiply it by the negative 2. Negative 5 times negative 2 would be positive 10. Now we need to combine the common terms to get our answer. Let's start with the largest exponent. The largest exponent would be 2x to the fourth. There's no other exponent to the fourth, so 2x to the fourth would go in the answer. The next largest exponent would be the third, negative 5x to the third. Notice there's no other exponent of 3 in our box, so negative 5x to the third would also go into the answer. The next largest exponent would be to the second power, 6x to the second power. Notice there's no other exponent of 2. So 6x to the second power would also go straight into the answer. Now we're going to look at the x terms. Notice there's 2, negative 15x and negative 4x. We need to combine these. We're going to add since the signs are the same and get negative 19x. And the last term in our box would be positive 10. There's no other constant term, so the positive 10 would go at the end of our polynomial answer. If you were to look at your answer choices, choice D is incorrect because it ends with a negative 10 and not a positive 10. Choice B is incorrect because it starts off with 2x to the third instead of 2x to the fourth. Now we're down to choice A or choice C. Notice that in choice A there's a negative 11x and in choice C there's a negative 19x. Negative 19x is the correct part of the polynomial, so choice A is incorrect. That means choice C is the correct answer. 2x to the fourth minus 5x to the third plus 6x squared minus 19x plus 10 is the correct answer. And now a message from Mr. Toups' former students.
The first step to passing the test is believing that you will pass.
Don't stop believing.
This video has been produced by Toups Graphics. Toups Graphics. Always believe.